So in this video, I'm going to be bringing forward messages, some guidance from nature, from energy. Now in the meditation, I was led to the topic of the echo. And in terms of like echo, it was to do with like sound echo. But also there was an element linking to awareness and other dimensions. Now what I was feeling was that over time and over our many lifetimes, and I mean the many lifetimes and the many generations of human beings as a whole, there are general things within each generation that are made apparent, and these are normally things that revolve around change and the way that we experience the human experience on Earth. And I'm seeing that these things that are realized by each generation so what I'm seeing is that, for instance, let me give you an example. So we have my generation, and we have things that we can see that need changing. We have issues with race and the economy and nature, and just there are just things that we have that we can recognize that need changing, or that need fixing, or that need maybe a different structure behind it. Now what I'm seeing is that the things that we recognize today are things that have been recognized in past generations that have not been resolved, and this is the echo. It's the fact that we can have the awareness that things need changing, but if we don't take the active steps to change them, they continue throughout the generations and have an echo effect, have a snowball effect. They don't go unnoticed, they just go noticed by the next generation that comes. I was also being brought to other dimensions, and that as above, so below. So what happens in the physical happens in the spiritual for the physical, if that makes sense. So like whilst whilst we're here on Earth, as above, so below, that's very true. So it's like what's happening down here reflects above in the heavens and in the other dimensions. However, once you maybe cross over and transition to the next life, maybe obviously via death, like the things that are echoed won't necessarily be there, because that is the spiritual, but not the spiritual of the physical. It's the spiritual of the everything, if that makes sense. I can't explain everything. Some things you have to allow. Words can only express so much of what I'm feeling, so you have to allow your feelings to turn the knowledge or the information that I'm giving into a divine knowing, into a inner knowing for yourself and what that means for you. So yeah, so the other dimensions, I forgot where I was going. So yes, so whilst we can recognize inequality and injustice and those kind of things, it's important for us to address them, and it's important to address these things on an individual basis. Quite often we have this mindset that that one person cannot make a change in this world. We have the mindset that it takes a whole group of people, it takes a village, it takes an army, but really and truly one person can make a difference. And once you make that difference within yourself, you have done all that you can to change the grand scheme of things. You know, once you begin to raise your vibration and raise your frequency, you then begin to raise the frequency of the people around you automatically. You then begin to raise the environment, the frequency of the environment around you automatically. And you doing that just within yourself is making a change on a grand level. As you raise your vibration, your frequency, you're able to have more inclusive thought. You're able to look at things from different perspectives, different angles, and you're able to realize that by fixing the self or acknowledging the self, you acknowledge the greater. And that too has an echo effect. That too echoes outwardly. That too echoes outwardly. I'm also seeing that in different dimensions, different things are needed on different levels, or things are maybe so when we can realize or see something that may need fixing or changing in our physical human experience for the next generation to come, once these realizations are made, they go outwardly as a collective. Our collective realizations go to the universe outwardly, yeah? And they go to each dimension. And as the echo of our intentions or our voice or the things that we're realizing go up into each dimension, it is received and heard in different levels, if that makes sense. So say you had different, so it's like being in school. So say you have different sets and different levels for ability. These are steps and levels in consciousness. And as our, just as each stage in school, they may all learn the same thing, but how they are taught it is different. How they receive the teaching and the lessons is different. That's the same for within the spiritual dimensions. The echo of our voice and our intentions, it changes upon the dimension or the frequency that is being received by, if that makes sense. It's almost that the lower, well, the higher the dimension, it's like they have more ability to hear clearly. An ability to hear clearly, like the root of the matter. So when it comes to the lower forms, the lower levels or the lower levels, yeah. When it comes to those lower levels, the information is received a lot denser. Okay. So I realized like the story and the trailer of where I'm being led to. So what it is that these stages, whether we're talking about in sets in school, or whether we're talking about different dimensional levels, like the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 12th dimensions, they represent our consciousness here in the physical. And when we realize things that we may want to change or things that may need changing in this world, when our consciousness is at a lower level, the way that we see things, the way that we experience things is a lot denser. And we're seeing it with a lot less light. And when you get to the higher dimensions and the higher realms and the high levels of consciousness, you see things with more light. You see things with a purity. You see things with a purity which takes away the denseness. And once you are able to take away the denseness, you're able to have clarity. And that clarity enables you, one, to see the situation for what it is, to be able to fully acknowledge what needs to be changed and how to change it. And all those answers, the answer to that, all three of those aspects is just the self. Because you're able to recognize your role in how your role affects the thing that you realize that needs changing. You're able to recognize that it is by changing the self, you can make change. You can make change on a wider scale, on a grander scale. And you're able to take away, because within the denseness of the lower vibration, you attach a lot of personal kind of emotion and personal kind of feeling to things. You know, you're not able to look at it from a subjective. Is that the right word? Subjective or objective? Oh my God, I've got confused. But yeah, you're able to look at it from a wider perspective instead of looking at it from a place with personal and emotional connection, which then makes like what you're experiencing less valid and less true. Not that it's less true because you're attaching your feelings to it, but when you can take your feelings out of something and look at something for what it actually is, that is truth. So I feel that this video is basically revolving around the self. And for us to understand that we have enough within us to make whatever change that whatever change we feel is necessary for this world, for the greater good. Each and every single one of us has enough within us to create that change. Each and every one of us has enough within us. We have enough strength, enough peace, enough courage, enough life experience. We have enough wisdom. We have enough faith. We have enough intuitive ability. We have enough balance. We literally have enough life force within us to create whatever change we wish. And it all starts with the self. So I feel that I'm being brought to the root chakra. Okay, and the reason why we're being brought to the root chakra is because when we can see like issues with this world, or things that we want to change, or problems, or things that we know could go more smoothly, they are connected to the structure of things, to the basic structure of this world, of this human experience. of this modern day society that we live in. They are part of the core foundation. And when you solve issues, no matter how big the issue or how small the issue is, it changes the foundation, it changes the structure, it changes the groundwork of said society or said experience. And when we are making changes, or when we want to make changes, but we're actually putting in the actual work, it's important to stay grounded. You know, once you come into the realization that you actually do have enough power to make whatever change you wish, it's important to stay grounded, because we can quickly get lost in our mission. We can quickly lose the peace and solely focus on our pentacles. We can quickly, because when we're trying to fix issues, it's often a strive for peace. We forget the peace that we already had. We forget the peace that we had in the background already waiting with us. And it's not about trading one version of peace for another version of peace, but it's about accumulating peace, accumulating abundance, all in love, all in the knowing of who it is that you are, in the knowing of the universe. People who see people who see issues see them because they have a desire to fix, a desire to help, a desire to uplift. And they wouldn't see the issue if they didn't have the wisdom or the knowledge to support or solve that issue. There is something within you that has allowed you, that is giving you the capability to recognize that something needs changing or something needs fixing. And it's something that we all have, or we all wouldn't be on Earth. We all wouldn't be having this shared human experience, this individualized but shared human experience, because that's what we're meant to do. You know, our purpose on Earth is to help life thrive, to help life force thrive, to increase life force, to help energy to flow more smoothly. Sorry, my phone died, so I'm going to leave it there today. Thanks for joining me. Peace and love.